Hey there friends, Foster the Canadian here, and welcome back to Fridays with Foster, a weekly series in which you guys send me questions, you ask me for advice, you share stories, and I give you my take on them, share stories of my own. Now, the footage you're seeing is from the last game night, and it was probably the most successful so far. I got a bunch of you guys together, we played some crazy, wacky Halo 4 game types and maps, which you can see here. Not the typical stuff that you normally see in Halo. And that's why I love playing it, and that's why I love playing it with you guys, because you guys really made the night incredibly fun. It would have been pretty cool to play these game types just with a bunch of random people and, you know, have fun that way. But it is an entirely different thing playing with you guys in particular, because you made the night. Like, game night for me is something that I've very much been looking forward to. If you don't know what game night it is, I just kind of explained it. But it's on Sunday, Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific. 5 p.m. Eastern Time, so if you want to jump in, send me a message, follow me on Twitter, and we'll get started. So, without any further game night talkingness, let's get on with the actual stories. Alright, on to story number 1, and it just would not be Fridays with Foster without either poop or girlfriend problems, so let's get started with poop. How I almost made it. Hey Foster, I noticed in a recent video you asked for some stories for Fridays with Foster, so here you go. I was about 4 years old, and I was at Montreal for a trip. My mom was doing some yoga thing there, so I had to take a child's course there, but I really had to poop. Once my mom asked me if I had to go to the bathroom, I said yes and ran off as fast as I could. Once I got to the washrooms, I ran to a stall, and just as I opened the toilet seat, as you might have guessed, I crapped myself. This is my most embarrassing story ever. I can say I don't trust anyone that hasn't pooped themselves at one time. Like, I believe I told a story already about the time I pooped myself at school when I was in kindergarten. But, you know, I decided that the reason I picked this story was I'm going to tell you guys a story, a very embarrassing story that I actually haven't told anyone ever. Not even family. So, here it goes. I was, I guess, 12 years old, and my friend lived on a houseboat. And he lived on this houseboat that you had to actually, like, take a long boat ride, like 10-minute boat ride, to actually get there or get off the boat. So, I was staying at his place for a sleepover, and this is like a long sleepover. He lived on an island off of Vancouver Island. I lived on Vancouver Island at the time. I know that might get confusing for anyone that doesn't live locally here. But I lived on Vancouver Island. He lived on an island that was separate to it. And I was excited because I hadn't seen him in like a few months, so I go there for the sleepover, and everything was great. We were having a wonderful time for the first 2 or 3 days. Now, the problem with this houseboat is all the water that they got to drink or cook with, they got from the lake that the houseboat was on. Not even sure, it wasn't a lake, it was a bay. It was a bay on the island. So that was gross enough that you had to wash your hands with water that was from the bay that they just boiled down. What's worse is when you go to the bathroom there, like, you go in a bucket, and they empty the... I'm actually kind of getting sick just talking about it. They empty the bucket by throwing it back in the bay. So the water that you drink, I'm not going to talk about it, but it was late at night, and I woke up, and I really had to pee. Now, the thing about a houseboat is there isn't electricity, so there are no lights. So I go to this bathroom, or I try to go to this bathroom, and I'm fumbling around looking for the door. I can't find it. And then I'm like, screw it. I'm gonna pee out the window into the lake. So I go to pee out the window, and I'm like, I hear noise. If I open this window, they're definitely gonna hear, they're gonna come down, and they're going to be like, what the hell are you doing? So I, once again, was like, okay, I need to find the bathroom. I need to find the bucket. I really have to pee. This is me at 12 years old, so I'm not like a youngin' anymore. And I'm like fumbling around for a good 10 minutes. And finally, it just happened. I just started peeing all over myself. And I'm like, no, this isn't good. These are the only pants that I have. I'm at a sleepover. I have no pants. Like, this is horrible. I packed 2 pairs of pants already, or 3 pairs of pants, rather. I already had the other 2. I already used them. So, there I am, peeing myself in the middle of the night on a houseboat with no change of pants, and instead of, manning up to it going, look, I had an accident, can you help me? Do you have a spare pair of pants that I can wear or something? I just sat there and ignored it. I'm just like, look, I'm going back to sleep. Maybe they won't notice. And I don't want to insult my friend or his parents, even though I haven't talked to him in a decade. They were hippies. The entire place smelled like urine already. It really smelled awful, and no one noticed or said a damn thing because I smelled like them now. And, at that time, I'm like, okay, I blended in. This is good. Then I realized, once I grew up, they're probably covered in urine themselves. I mean, they cook with it, they clean with it, they eat it. It's all urine. The entire place is just filled with urine. So, I guess I just, instead of being ridiculed, I would have just fit in nicely by saying, hey, I peed myself. They would have been like, hey, I just did that earlier. So, that's my urinating myself story. And, normally I'd be hesitant to upload a video with this story in it, but Fridays with Foster is over 20 episodes long. I've really connected with you guys. You know a lot more about me than anyone else. So, you know what? I'm comfortable, finally, with sharing this. I hope you guys enjoyed. Alright, on to story number 2, which I'd like to call Fashion Faux Pas for Fridays with Foster. Hey there, Foster! Recently, I've been criticized at school for wearing platform shoes, and people have been making fun of me for it for quite some time. I don't need any advice because I actually am fine with them making fun of me because I just really love to wear them and don't care what other people think. My question instead is, do you wear anything that is typically made fun of or completely out of style? First off, I want to congratulate you for just not caring and, wearing something that I guess you feel expresses yourself and not caring that other people are like, you look an inch taller than you should. Haha. That's what platform shoes are, right? They raise you up. Anyway, as far as anything, I have a very boring fashion sense. I usually wear, you guys see me, I wear a white t-shirt, black pants, maybe my jacket, my green shirt for vlogging, but that's typically just for vlogging. I don't have a whole lot of variety in my fashion, but there is something that I've always wanted to wear that I just have never been able to find in stores that I want to wear around because I love them, and that is Hammer pants. MC Hammer's custom parachute pants that he makes called Hammer pants. I love them. I want to walk around my legs will be all wavy looking. It'll look like I'm wearing a parachute. I love it. I really like those pants. I've never had a pair. I've always wanted a pair. I've looked on eBay a few times and I can't really find any that are in my size or, at least none that are in my price range. But parachute pants is something that I've always wanted but have never had the ability to actually acquire. And I guess that would be the one that I guess typically would be mocked, but I'm not sure if someone walked down the street wearing parachute pants. I think it would be more of a funny statement than a fashion statement. I don't think anyone would be like, please, those are so out of style, because it's obviously out of style. They're just cool. I like them. And I'm not just talking black parachute pants or something. I'm talking gold hammer pants, gold hammer pants. He wears the can't touch this, too legit to quit music videos, that kind of stuff. But, that is something that's kind of hard to buy nowadays. But thank you for sending this in. I really like these kind of questions. And if you guys have any questions like this that you want to hear from me, by all means, send them in. I haven't had a whole lot of questions like this, and I'm totally cool with answering them. So, thank you. Alright, this final story is FWF VMA FTW, or Fridays with Foster Video Music Awards for the win. Hey Foster, what is your opinion of the whole Miley Cyrus thing at the VMAs? Please put on Fridays with Foster. If you answer this, thank you. Probably the shortest question I've had, but I didn't really want to talk about this. I had so many jokes that I could have used, but I wanted to be part of the group that, didn't call attention to this kind of thing instead of the one that kind of snowballed it and made it a bigger deal than it was. So, Miley Cyrus, if you didn't know, she was at the VMAs and she was twerking and being all kinds of lewd and weird, and it was strange to say the least. And I don't watch the VMAs, but when something explodes the way it does on Twitter and YouTube, I pay attention to it. So there's two sides to this. One side being come on, Miley Cyrus, you're being basically a floozy. What are you doing? You had a good reputation. Then there's the other side saying, she's an adult. She has this money and this power, and she can do what she wants with it. And people are feeding into this, so it's working. And she should be able to do that. She has a right to do that. And my opinion is, yeah, she has a right to do that. But I feel like she also has a responsibility as someone that is such a celebrity that so many people look up to. And this goes with Justin Bieber and all those people that are basically role models for the youth of the whole Western society, I guess. Because they have such an incredible following of millions of fans who are looking up to this behavior and thinking, this is the way that adults act. This is the way that people are supposed to act. I'm going to act this way when I'm older, and that's not the way it should be. You have a responsibility when you have all this power and all this fame to be a role model for these kids. And if you're going to go out there and do stuff like that, then that's what these kids are going to think is just okay to do. And although it doesn't, hurt anyone, and it's not a horrible atrocity, she's not going out there and, like, clubbing baby seals and, other horrible things that she could be doing. But it's still something that, maybe I'm old-fashioned in thinking this, but the way that society should be targeted towards is people who are good role models who try to enlighten, try to benefit, and try to help people instead of just like, hey, look at me, I'm famous, I can do what I want. This is the kind of attitude that I have. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to get drunk, I'm going to, look down on people that aren't as cool as me, as popular as me. I'm going to go and I'm going to act crazy, I'm going to do drugs and all this stuff. And that's not the way that people with this kind of fame should be acting. And I guess it's a byproduct of fame. But this is my opinion. I know that people who are famous are going to do dumb stuff like this. But when you are influencing young minds and showing them that this is the way that you are and that this is the way that they will now aspire to be, I can't stand for that. It bugs the hell out of me. And I feel like the amount of good role models that we have are going down very quickly. And I just want to point out that there are still people out there who have a lot of fame, who have actually really used that responsibly and have become good role models. And although a lot of people are going to disagree with me here, I think Sidney Crosby, if you're Canadian, you know who he is. And if you're American and you're a hockey fan, you know who he is. He's a captain of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and he's very soft-spoken, he's very well-mannered. He, to me, is a very good role model, and I love that there are kids in Canada growing up wanting to be like him, and he knows that, and he's sort of acting appropriately. So there is another side to this. I don't like the whole, I'm famous so I can do what I want. I'm an adult, so, what I do doesn't affect other people. I don't like that mentality of it, because you do affect other people, you influence other people, and you should take that responsibility very seriously, and no one seems to be doing that, at least in that certain age bracket, Miley Cyrus, Justin Bieber, and all that. But I really don't want to talk about these people ever again, and it's not that I hate them or anything, I just disagree with them. I just don't like talking about them. So thanks for sending this story in, and let's move on to the outro. Alright friends, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode of Fridays with Foster. If you have any questions that you want to send in, any stories that you want to send in, or any topics that you'd just like me to go over, please do so. You can send it to my YouTube channel, or Facebook, or however you want to reach me, you can do it. The questions are always anonymous, so you don't have to worry about, shining a light on yourself if you don't want to. And if you want to join on game night, Sunday, 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern. If you follow me on Twitter, I'll be tweeting out, hey, 1 hour to go, 30 minutes, let's do this, yay! So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Until next time, this is Foster the Canadian, saying see ya.